Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzpunk TV here, aka G-Lorne33. I'm back here today with your My Hero Academia Chapter 298 review. This chapter is called Crumbling Sound. Before we get into the chapter, of course, I know some of you guys have been unhappy because I haven't been making as many My Hero Academia videos like I usually do, right? And I apologize for that, but gotta be honest, man, you know, with Attack on Titan Season 4 being an absolute banger, plus recovering Promised Neverland and Dr. Stone and Dragon Ball Super, right? You guys see there's a lot of anime being covered. So, like I said, you know, I'm going to try to be more consistent with My Hero Academia, especially with Season 5 coming in less than 2 months. So, I'm going to try to give you guys at least one My Hero Academia video a week, especially when it comes to the manga. So, I do want to make that quick apology to you guys. But we are continuing with the manga. We're continuing with the aftermath of the war arc. Things are still going down. You guys remember in Chapter 297, we saw All For One, Overhaul, Muscular, you know, all these villains starting to make an escape from prison. And we also see that in this chapter, we're going to have to see what's happening with the heroes, right? Class 1A, Deku, Bakugo, Izawa, Gran Torino, those characters. So definitely this is an interesting chapter. So let's get into it and let's stop wasting time. So the first part of the chapter, right, we get to see a flashback of when the heroes were raiding the hospital. We see Destro, he's giving monologues, talking about, you know, how the League of Villains spent a lot of money preparing for, you know, this war, right? And basically, a lot of preparation went into this, and we all know that. We saw there was many villains that the heroes had to go through at the mansion and at the hospital. We also see Reed Darasso. He's talking about how he always had two faces, right? One that the public knows, right, as the CEO of a big company, and the other one being the leader of PLF, right, the Liberation Force. And he said that ever since the war in Deka City, he literally became two people. So, like, there's the one on the business side, and there's the other that's, you know, not in the suit, right? The villain. So we see Reed Darasso, he's in his gigantic form, right? And he looks kind of muddy. And we see that it looks like he was fighting some heroes. And he knew that, you know, people were targeting him by pretending to order support items, right? So he knew that people were kind of using his company to try to get at him because people were starting to catch on that he's the villain. So it says that the public safety said that they didn't expect him to come at them with an attack this powerful. He said that he wanted real freedom, and that see them been scattered all over the place, right? So I guess he's talking about the main reason why the League of Villains are doing this, right? The whole point of this war is because villains want to destroy hero society. So we're just getting another perspective here from Reed Darasso. So we then shift over to the prison break. And you guys remember the last week's chapter left off with All For One breaking out of his let's say his imprisonment, right? Remember, he was heavily chained up, breaking out of that, and we saw Shigaraki's body, who All For One is in control of at the moment, staring right at him. So All For One is now instructing the League of Villains to protect Shigaraki's body while he's resting. So Spinner, right? Spinner has like a bewildered face, and he says, "We used to talk about games and stuff. Who am I following right now?" And All For One tells them not to worry because he understood Tomoero's will the most. And once the body is completed, he will fulfill that will. So I guess this is implying that All For One plans to stay with Shigaraki's body, right? He plans to stay in control of Shigaraki's body until his body is fully complete. Because remember, Shigaraki's only at about 75%. That experiment never was finished. So it is interesting, but I have a feeling that, you know, Shigaraki might never get full control of his body again, right? Remember, we did see Shigaraki trying to stop All For One last chapter from taking over, but he wasn't able to do so. So we'll see, because remember, they tried to explain to us that the hatred that Shigaraki has, right, towards Hero Society, that was the reason why he was so strong and so difficult for Deku and the others to beat. So we'll see if that hatred that Shigaraki has is what eventually leads him to take over from All For One, because that's what I feel like is going to be one of the directions going forward, right? Shigaraki finally trying to free himself from All For One, if he truly is able to do it one day, because he might never be able to do it, if we're being truly honest here, right? So then, after that, right, that's all we get from the prison break. But we then get a 2-day time skip from when the war ended, and we see Bakugo regaining consciousness. So Bakugo, like I said, I told you guys a long time ago, Bakugo's going to be fine. He's going to heal. That moment was more about character development. They're not going to kill Bakugo. No, come on. Don't be, like, some of you casuals are hilarious. But he sits up, right, and then he takes off his oxygen mask, right, but he's still holding his injured abdomen, because remember, those spikes that went through him, so he's nowhere close to being, fully healed, but he is okay. So we see Mineta, Sato, Shiro, and Hokage, no, not Hokage, I said, Hugker, I'm saying his name wrong. I don't know why. What's with me these days? But we see, members of Class 1A, mainly the boys, they're visiting him. So Mineta's crying in relief that Baku's now awake. But of course, Baku, he doesn't like that sentimental crap. Baku starts yelling at them. And once again, they feel relieved because Baku's back to his normal self. So we find out that everybody's in Central Hospital, because it's like the top hospital when it comes to medical facilities. So then Baku asks about Deku, right? So Baku is very concerned because Baku is on the battlefield with, them, so he's concerned about Deku and Todoroki and Sensei, aka Izawa, right? And Endeavor. So, and Baku also wants to know what's going on. So we then switch over to Gran Torino and Izawa, and they are both regaining consciousness. So Gran Torino, it looks like he's gonna survive. A lot of us thought Gran Torino was done, right? We all know the panel where Shigaraki just impaled this dude, right? Fortunately, it was a brutal panel, and the amount of debris that was around. I thought Gran Torino was done. It's classic shonen anime, right? A master of the protagonist dying, right? Which, motivates the protagonist to get stronger. I thought it was up for Gran Torino. I thought he was gone. Izawa, that would have been the bigger death at the end of the day, because we know Izawa and everyone loves him. But I am surprised that Gran Torino is alive, at least for right now, right? But we see President Mike, he's there with Izawa, and remember, Izawa's been out of consciousness, and Izawa does not know about Midnight. I still haven't recovered from Midnight's death. I'm still very sad about that. So President Mike is about to tell Izawa about Midnight. Remember, they're all teachers at Class 1, or not, at UA High. But you can see President Mike is very emotional, but Izawa stops him. Izawa says he not to talk about it. Izawa is more focused on the students. So I guess maybe Izawa kind of has that feeling that something really bad happens, but he wants to focus more about the students right now. So then we move over to Todoroki, right? Todoroki is awake, but he's like fully bandaged, so people are going to be calling Todoroki Mummy Todoroki for right now. We see Kirishima, Mina, Momo, they're all there with him, cheering him up. We then see Fuyami and Natsuo walking inside the hospital with reporters, right? And they're asking them about Endeavor and Dabi, because remember, one of the big things that happened is Dabi, revealing himself as Toya. Remember, he's the sibling of Fuyami and Natsuo, right? And how they're going to react to all this. We only got a small panel of where they were when they found out the news. Remember, I believe Natsuo was teaching and Fuyami was on his phone. So, like, they don't even have the answers. So the reporters are going on and on about this. Remember, Endeavor is still unconscious. So Todoroki is thinking about how strong Toya's fire was. He said it was a fire full of hatred. And Shoto said he saw the old him in Dabi. And then he drew the conclusion that Endeavor wouldn't be able to do it, and he should be the one to handle Toya. Todoroki's throat was said to be burned, so currently he can't speak. So Todoroki is still heavily injured, right, because of the fire from his brother. And so basically, I like that little comparison, right? Because if you think of Todoroki, remember when we first met him, he didn't want to use his fire, you know? Remember, and when he used it against Deku in the tournament, he had that evil, kind of like sinister look on his face. But then from there, of course, Todoroki and Deku's relationship develops and it gets stronger. And, you know, Todoroki, he's able to kind of make that fire his own. So I do like that little comparison here. Like I said, eventually, I hope sometime in the future, Dabi will go back to his family. But, you know, right now, I don't see that happening at all. It's going to be a long time till we get that. But I do like that comparison, you know. Hopefully, Todoroki will, you know, hopefully he'll be able to heal and get back to, you know, his fatherly ways. But it's going to be interesting, you know, Endeavor, he's going to have a conversation with Dabi. Because remember, the conversation, Endeavor didn't say much. He was more in shock the whole entire time. So there's definitely going to have to be a bigger conversation between Endeavor and Toya eventually in the future. So then getting near the end of the chapter, right, we see Bakugo. He's being pulled back by Mineta and Satchel because he's trying to march down the hospital. They're telling Bakugo, you know, like, because remember, Bakugo was still heavily injured because he was impaled. But Bakugo said, Bakugo's yelling at them, like, stop pulling me, because if you keep holding me back, the closer I'll get to dying. So a little bit of comedic humor. We see that Bakugo, he's heading towards Deku's room, right? Because Deku's the only one who hasn't woken up. Izawa's up, Gran Torino's up, Bakugo's up, right? Todoroki, they've all, you know, regained consciousness, and they're all on the road to recovery. But Deku's the only one that hasn't regained consciousness, right? So Bakugo says, I'll kill that bastard if he dies. So that's definitely the line of the chapter. But then we see that the last panel is Deku lying on the hospital bed unconscious. All Might is sitting in the chair beside his bed. So All Might is there with Deku, right, holding his hand. And we all know, right, you know, one for all, like, I don't have to explain that to you, but it's going to be interesting. What's the consequences for Deku? I'm not telling you, you know, he's going to get in trouble because, you know, of what he did. He has his hero's license, or the provisional license, of course. You know, what's going to be interesting is his body, because we all know Deku's not supposed to have his arms broken. You know, he's already been warned multiple times that if he keeps breaking his arms, he's eventually not going to have arms, right? His legs, you know, he's still, you know, his legs, he'll be fine at the end of the day, pretty much, because he has shoot style. That's the whole point. But still, we see that Deku's in a full body cast. His arms and his legs are heavily injured. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Deku going forward. You know, we know he has like 4 quirks that he can use now, right? With Black Whip, Search, and Float, and One for All. But, you know, the way Deku looks, Deku is unconscious. I'll say right now, next chapter, I do expect Deku to wake up. Sometime in the next 1 or 2 chapters, Deku will wake up, and we'll probably get a nice little emotional scene with All Might and Bakugo, and, you know, the rest of Class 1A there with him. But there's going to have to be some big conversations taking place about Deku's injuries and what's next, because we still have no idea what's going to happen for Class 1A, because their lives have been changed thanks to what happened in this arc. And, you know, still, I'm betting the bet Deku doesn't even know about Midnight. So, like I said, there's still gonna be a lot. There's still gonna be a lot of sad tears and a lot of sad moments going forward. So that's something to look out for. But other than that, this was a great chapter in my opinion. I do like that we're taking a break from the action. There's been so much action. I honestly need a break from it, right? And I just want to see what's the aftermath. Where do we go from here? So, like, if we go a couple months without, you know, some big action in My Hero Academia, I'm fine with that, to be honest. I'm more focused on the story right now and the aftermath of this war arc. But let me know in the comment section what you guys thought of the chapter. You know, I want to thank DBS Hype, as always, for getting us the translations and the early scans. Like I said, this was another great chapter. And like I said, we'll be right back here, hopefully, next week with chapter 299, right? 2 chapters away from 300. But let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed the chapter, if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like on the video, right? Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel for all things My Hero Academia. Click the bell right next to my name, Fistpunk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'm gonna get out of here. You guys stay safe and healthy. Peace.